In this part, I'm going to create a logging service. So first of all, the question is, why should we need a logging service? Well, a logging service can provide us a great way to write the exceptions, errors, warnings, information or anything into the file or database, right? So that we can inspect to see what went wrong and why, and where the exceptions have been thrown from our code. Because in production environment we cannot easily debug the code, also cannot debug the specific scenario. That's why it is very convenient to use log file or log database and inspect or investigate from there. Okay, for that I'm going to create a service under the services folder, new project. This is gonna be a class library. Okay, I'm gonna use class library that targets .NET. Then let's give it a name as a logger service. Okay, next, .NET 8.0 create. Okay, so for the dependencies, for the logging service, I'm gonna use NLog library. So we have a library called NLog, right? So this is the library. So to get started, we have some code here. We can install the NuGet package, then configure with the nlog.config file, and there's some code how to use the log file. Okay, so let's add the NuGet package for nlog, which is gonna be nlog extensions.logging. So this is the one we are going to use. So let's install the latest stable version. Okay, it has been added. The latest version at this moment is 5.3.14. okay, now let's create or rename this existing class 1 to our class name I logger manager. Yes, so here let's make this interface I logger manager. Here I'm gonna create 4 method. Those are gonna be void. Method name is log info. This is for logging. So it will take a string parameter as a message. Similarly, I need 3 more. Second one is for log warning or log warn. Third one is for debug, and fourth is for error. Okay, now I can create another class and give it a name logger manager and make it public and also inherit the iLogger manager. Okay, so control dot, or if you click on this, you should see this tooltip here, then see implement interface. So it will implement all the interfaces, all the methods, right? Okay, so we do not need this. We can remove those namespaces. Similarly, we can also, well, it doesn't have, that's good. Okay, so here we need that logger, right? So how do we get the logger? We can create a private variable, static variable, and give like I logger, that is from NLog, right? Then keep the name as logger, so that is gonna be log manager from NLog dot get current class logger. Okay, even if we go into that tutorial from NLog, we can see the code that how to use that logger. This is the code from there. Okay, so in this log debug, what can we do? We can simply log using that logger dot debug the message. So this will log the message and also highlight as a debug message, right? Similarly, it will add the message as error. Info message. Okay, so it has the intelligence. Okay, since this is a one-liner code, we can simply specify, oops, okay, so we can even more simplify. Oops. Right, so our implementation is done for the logging service, right? Now we need to configure the logging service. So to configure the logging service, we need to create a nlog.config file in our target project, right? So this is our file name. So what we can do, we can right click here in the API project, because that is our target project, then config, right? There are like so many config files. I'm gonna use maybe this one, web config, but give it a name like nlog.config. Okay, so this is our config file. Now let's go back to the config in from the tutorial. Let's copy this, then come back to here and replace that default config file, right? So what it is saying here, that targets log file, so we are not gonna log in the console. Let's delete that. Then target log file name is a file type, right? And file name, we can give it a like user friendly name, or also we can give it a like a different name. In my case, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give it a name with the path which is short date, right, underscore log, then txt. Okay, so this is the file location. You can also provide the specific location like C drive, then this folder, then that folder, right? That can be also done here. So here I'm gonna use log file for everything. Okay, so minimum level is debug. So debug, then info, then warning, then error, right? Okay, so this is our config setting for NLog. Once that is done, then what we can do, we can test it. We have a default controller here that comes with the API solution, API project, right? So we can use this controller. Okay, so it has its own implementation here by default, right? We are not gonna use that one. So this is gonna be iLogger manager that will come from the logging service, right? So we need to add the project reference here. Right click on the dependencies. Let me show you again. Right click, add project reference, select the project name and hit OK. Come over here, control dot, then it will show up the using statement. So this is the using statement for this logging. Okay, we can also provide underscore. Then we are gonna use constructor injection here, right? Okay, I'll give you a quick discussion on the dependency injection and IOC container. Before that, let's complete this logging here. So what we're gonna do, logger dot, you can write like log info, and we can then provide that info here. Let's say this is a info, right? This is an info for our testing, right? Maybe this is an warning message or info message, whatever you like, right? Same way we can provide the other one for one more, debug, right? This is a debug message, then this is error message, this is an error. Okay, well, so what we did here, we did not instantiate this logger class or object, right? Instead we are using dependency injection here. So what is dependency injection? Dependency injection is a technique we use to achieve the decoupling of objects and dependencies, meaning instead of instantiating that object here, I mean, let's say we can instantiate that object logger manager, right? So this is like a hard coded, right? It's a tightly coupled, so we can decouple this using dependency injection. So dependency injection will provide that object to this class. So instead of creating it here, we will use dependency injection. Okay, I will show you how to provide that in a second. And the IOC container. So IOC container is essentially a factory that is responsible for providing the instances of the type, right? So let's move into extension methods. So what we want to do here, let's create an extension method, public static void configure logger service. Okay, services. So what we can do, services add singleton. So the singleton we can provide I logger service, iLogger service, sorry, not iLogger service, it's gonna be iLogger manager, then provide the class name or object name, which is logger manager. Okay, what is happening here in this? Oops, I wrote it in a incorrect location inside of another method. It's supposed to be an independent method here. Okay, so it says if you need a iLogger manager, I will provide that iLogger manager. That means the dependency injection, the IOC container will create that object and provide that object to that caller method. Okay, so let's call it from the program.cs. Can call it here builder.services.configure logger service. Okay, that's good. We also need to add the logger manager here. So log manager setup, we will provide the configuration file here. Option, so option dot load configuration from file, right? So this is our configuration file, and there we can provide the path that includes like a directory, get current directory. Okay, then so it will get the current directory, which is the API folder, then slash nlog.config. So this is the config location for log manager. Okay, so it will read the config settings from this config file. Okay, let's build the solution. Build succeeded. So in the next lesson or next part, I'll show you how to test the API from Postman. Please guys, if you like this tutorial and learn something from this, hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.